Hi, I'm Laura, and I know you're watching this video because you have an aging parent who needs help with daily living activities, and you're probably worried about getting them the right care they need and being able to afford it. I have parents too who I love dearly, and I know that if they were in this situation, I would be feeling completely overwhelmed and worried for them. So, as a California elder law attorney, I want you to know you're in the right place. I'm going to be able to show you what you can do to help your parents right now so you don't have to worry anymore about the what ifs, and you can make sure that they get the care they need and that they'll be able to pay for it. So if you've been the one taking care of your parents so far, I know that you've had a really probably rough go if you're like most people in Orange County who are taking care of their parents. I know that you have to spend a lot of time providing help for your parents, which you're happy to do, but you have your own job to worry about. You probably have your own kids in your life, and so it's very difficult to be a full-time physical and emotional caregiver to your parent when you have other obligations as well. And usually what happens is there comes a point where physically you can't safely care for your parent anymore just because you don't have the right kind of training and their needs are increasing. So I know that causes you a lot of stress. And if you're feeling like you might have any type of anxiety or depression because of this situation, you are totally normal, just so you know. A lot of times when you're the one who's caring for a sick person or an elderly parent, every time the phone rings, if it's too late at night or too early in the morning, you're worried that it could be bad news or it could be an emergency. Or maybe you feel anxious when you go to take a quick trip to maybe visit your kids or grandkids, that your mom or dad might not be safe or taken care of at all times. And so you can't really enjoy your own life and own special moments because you're always emotionally and physically on call to your parent. And that just becomes very draining and very difficult for anybody to handle. So what happens is eventually most families realize that they do need some kind of help caring for their parent. And it doesn't mean you won't still remain in their life as an emotional caregiver and all of those things, but you just realize that you might need some outside help. That's typically when people will turn to a nursing home or maybe in-home care, and they're shocked when they find out that it can cost $9,000 a month in Orange County for care. And who can afford that? Our parents worked so hard their whole lives, but none of them anticipated, nobody did, how expensive it would be to live here in Orange County at this time and how much care would cost and how long that our parents would live. And so it's putting all of our seniors in a bit of a crisis here. So if you're feeling shocked and worried about how they're going to pay for that outside help, you are not alone. So unfortunately, what happens is people looking at these costs, they kind of have two options. Either they continue to be the caregiver because they don't want their parents to have to spend so much on outside care, and that causes so many of the personal problems for the caregiver. But the other option is they just watch their parents' savings get drained paying for care. And it starts with the savings account, then it's your parents' retirement account, and then the worst is it's the family home, the home that you grew up in or the home your parents worked so hard for, and everything gets lost paying for care. What is really troubling is, let's say your parent is married. Well, you watch one parent soak up all the money paying for care, and what does that mean for the surviving spouse? They end up broke too. So now we have a double problem that we're dealing with. And it is a nightmare. And I know that's what you're worried about. The other thing is what people don't realize is ultimately for caregivers, when it's the family member, too many times caregivers actually might pass away before the sick spouse because they're so used to making the sick spouse the center of everything, trying to be a good devoted spouse, that they neglect their own health. So these are outcomes that we don't want for your family at all. I don't want it for your family. I wouldn't want it for mine. But luckily, there is a solution. And it's not winning the lottery, although that would be great for all of us, right? But there is a real life solution to your problem. And the solution is getting your parents the outside care they need, having them being able to afford it, and not having all of the family assets spent down paying for that outside care. Wouldn't that be great? Well, the way that we can do that for you is we can help your parents get qualified for important government benefits that are available for seniors' care without them having to first go broke to qualify. So the two programs that I'm talking about that you might have looked into or heard about already is called Medi-Cal and the VA benefit. Two different benefits that are potentially available to your parents. So what you might be thinking is, gosh, Laura, we looked into that and my parents didn't qualify, even though they had too much money to qualify for those programs. They don't have enough money to pay for their care. And so for us, we can use certain exceptions to Medi-Cal and the VA benefits rules to help your parents get qualified, even if on the surface they don't. So similar to our tax rules. I go to pay taxes, the government says pay X amount of taxes, but they allow me certain deductions. So if you know about those deductions and you have a good accountant, you can do that. If you don't, you just are paying the taxes and not taking advantage of any of the exceptions. Well, it's the same idea with qualifying for these government programs. Yes, they have their rules, but they also give you their legally allowable exceptions. And my job is to help your parents qualify for these important government benefits for their care by qualifying based on the exceptions. So let me tell you first a little bit more about the benefits because they are going to make a huge difference when it comes to funding your parents' care and when it comes to their options. The first benefit that I'm talking about is Medi-Cal. So Medi-Cal is a government program and it helps pay for your parents' long-term care, like a nursing home or in-home care, once they're requiring daily assistance with living activities. It's not to be confused with Medicare. So what Medicare is, that's a government program where it is like health insurance for seniors. Everybody goes on it when they're 65 and they'll pay for hospital visits, maybe rehabilitation programs, those types of things, but it doesn't pay for long-term care. Medi-Cal is the only program that will do that. And so Medi-Cal is great because it can provide your parents thousands of dollars a month for their care. The only thing is, on the surface, they say that you have to meet certain income and asset requirements. And to qualify, they say that seniors have to basically already be broke or have very little assets to be able to get this help from the government. The other type of program that's very similar is the VA benefit. So that is only going to be available to seniors who served during a wartime period, or their surviving spouse. So they were veterans. That benefit works very similar where it can provide a substantial amount of money for your parents' care every month, but again, there's strict income and asset requirements on the surface to qualify. So Medi-Cal, the VA benefit, great programs. They can provide thousands of dollars a month for your parents' care, but on the surface, they're really only available to seniors who are basically broke or have very little assets. So what happens is seniors spend down all of their assets paying for care, basically go broke, and then they get these benefits. That's how it typically happens. Well, the problem is, while it will provide thousands of dollars a month for your parents' care, that's still not enough money if they're going to get quality care here in Orange County. And so we don't want to wait till your parents go broke because that money simply won't be enough for their final years. So the exception to this, though, is the government will allow us to set up what's called a trust, a special type of trust, where we can basically move your parents' assets into this trust, and the government will say, we're not going to count that. And therefore, because your parents don't have other assets outside that trust, they're going to be able to qualify for Medi-Cal and the VA benefit. And once that happens, what's so nice about it is they can use their own assets to help supplement what Medi-Cal and the VA benefit aren't able to cover. So it works beautifully together because you're able to draw from two sources to get your parents the care they need without them having to completely drain down their own assets and then get Medi-Cal and the VA benefit. It really works well together. So if you don't know what a trust is, this special type of trust, I want to just explain it a little bit more to you so you understand how we do this type of planning. You might have heard of kind of a basic trust, like a revocable living trust. That's what a lot of us have. And if you don't, you should have one. But what that type of trust does is it's something that says, okay, when we pass away, this is where our assets and our money will go, into who, and it avoids a long and expensive court process when someone dies, known as probate. So you're able to easily leave your money to the people that you love. That's how this special type of trust that I'm talking about works, but it also does so much more. The main thing it does is it allows you to turn around and qualify for Medi-Cal and VA benefits by putting your assets in it. So that's a huge benefit. And it also protects those assets from any outside ill-intentioned third parties like creditors or predators or anybody that would be trying to take advantage of your parents. It protects those assets from the outside world. And what's great about this trust is there's still family control. So these assets can still be used for the aging family member's care. It's not as though they don't have access to those assets to help pay for their care. So I want to break all of this down for you because I know I just explained a lot of concepts, okay? So first point I want to make is I know that you're dealing with an aging parent and you're worried about their care and you're worried about how you can pay for it. 2, I know that you're worried about what might happen to your other parent who was left penniless paying for one parent's care. 3, I know that if your parents pay for their care out of their own resources, there's a very good likelihood they're going to go broke in the end and they're going to be out of options and they're not going to be able to have the quality care that they deserve for their final years. 4, there's government benefits called Medi-Cal and the VA benefit that are available to help pay for an aging senior's long-term care. So now that we've brought it all together now, I want to tell you a real life story about how all of this works. My good friend Suzanne and I had lunch a couple years ago for her birthday, and I had asked her how she was doing. Now, Suzanne is a really busy physician and she has 4 little kids. And I knew that her mom had recently moved in with her and her family because the dad had passed away and that her mom was having some kind of health issues. What I didn't realize is how much Suzanne's mom's health had declined and that Suzanne and her husband were the ones who were providing all of the care for her mom, really because they just didn't know what to do. They also knew care was incredibly expensive and they just weren't sure their mom could afford that for a significant amount of time. So as she shared this with me, my jaw basically dropped and I said, Suzanne, I said, this is what I do for a living. I can help you. And she was like, what? And I said, Suzanne, we have solutions for your mom. We can help her get qualified for Medi-Cal and the VA benefit because her dad had been in the service. I said, there's things we can do right now. We can get your mom the care you need. Everything doesn't have to be on you. And she had the same reaction that you probably did initially before watching this video. She said, I didn't think my mom could qualify for those benefits because she has money. It might not be enough for her care for a long period of time, but she does have some money, too much to qualify. And that's when I explained to her what I'm explaining to you in this video, that even though she has assets, we can still use those exceptions to the Medi-Cal and the VA benefits, income and asset rules to help her get qualified so she can use both sources and have the quality of care that she needs. So when I told Suzanne this, she looked skeptical, but like a whole new person. She ended up coming into the law firm and we were able to do this planning for her mom. And she was like a brand new person. She still tells me all the time, she's so thankful we went to lunch that day because these are things, again, they're not secrets, but it's just something most people don't know about. So I want to invite you to talk with us about your parent's situation to see if we might be able to help. Now, I know the idea of talking to a lawyer is kind of overwhelming, and a lot of people would rather not. And I know that, and that's coming from a lawyer. But I don't want you to think of me as just a lawyer. I want you to think of me the way Suzanne did, as a trusted friend she could talk to, explain what's going on with her family, and be able to get those real life solutions for her very real problem that she's dealing with. And most importantly, get her parents and your parents the care that they need. So as an elder law attorney, I invite you to contact me. I also want you to know that planning for seniors is where my heart is at, and that's what I do every day. I'm a member of the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys, a member of Elder Council, and a member of the Academy of Special Needs Planners. I've also written a #1 bestseller, Good Parents Worry, Great Parents Plan. So I've even written a book on how to plan for the people that we love. I also want you to know that I love my family dearly. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, all of those things. And I'm going to make sure we take care of your family the same way we would want someone to take care of ours. All of those things. And I'm right here in Orange County. I'm an Orange County native, Orange County girl. My office is right in Fashion Island. So you'll be able to come in and meet with us. And in some cases, we can even go to you. I don't want you to worry for one more day about your planning. And if you want additional information on us as well, you can check us out on Yelp. Our clients have given us the highest 5-star rating possible on Yelp. And I also enjoy a 10.0 rating on Avvo, a review site for attorneys, just so you could get a little bit more comfortable about what it is like to work with us and what you can expect. But I warmly invite you to contact us. We're ready to help your family. You don't have to go it alone.